Hey, I wanted to just play around in Lightroom once again, show you guys some of the settings that I would use for kind of this cloudy picture. As you can see, the clouds are quite dull at the moment and the sun is not as bright, and I'd like to make it a little bit brighter, a little bit more intense, like always. Just make it more beautiful, I guess. It's very subtle at the moment. So the first thing that I like doing is play with the color of it, because the color defines whether you want it more cold day or a warm day, or same with like winter and summer. So because there's sun in there, there's clouds as well, we don't want it a cold day, I want it a warm day. If it didn't have the sun in there, then sure, we'd go with more blues, but because there is sun in there, I want to go with the yellows and the orange. So I'm gonna take it right up a little bit. Now that looks like a heaven clouds, I'm not even kidding. Lightroom is all about playing around, so play as much as you can, get the perfect image. Be very careful with saturation. I always say this because saturation either makes it amazing or literally kills the image, so be very careful with it. As you can see, I'm really working with warming all the tones in this picture. The saturation is going to get rid of the color, we don't want that, so we're going to take it back to 1. Now, another favorite thing that I like to do is play with the mix. Oops, sorry, not black and white. Mix. What mix is all about is selecting the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens, the aqua, the blue, the purple, and the pinks in the picture, and you can edit only those colors. So if you want to edit the red, but you don't want to edit the rest of the picture, you just select the red and play around with that. As you can see, we don't have red in the picture because I just moved the slider up and down and nothing changed. So I'm gonna see what colors we've got. I'm guessing we might have a bit of yellow in there, so let's see. Yep, we definitely do. The whole picture has actually got a tint of yellow, so this is really important. I don't want to change the shade of yellow that we have in the picture, so I'm just going to keep the hue the same and experiment with saturation and luminance and see how that works out. So when I take saturation down, it gets rid of the color and adds a bit more depth in some areas, but we can add that later in the light section. In this section, I want to only focus on the color, so I'm going to get the color perfect. Okay, this is more saturated. As you can see, it looks unrealistic when you start to get these yellow little dots and marks that you don't want to see in the picture, and so for that reason we're going to bring the saturation down to a point where it's natural. 8 is perfect. Luminance makes it more brighter, or the other way around, adds a bit more white in there, so we can add a bit of white in there just to make the clouds a little bit more fluffy. As you can, we don't really have much. Okay, let's try orange actually. Yeah, we have orange tones in there, that's perfect. So once again, I'm just going to play around with the saturation a little bit and take it up to maybe 3. I don't like experimenting with saturation so much. Wait, hold on. Make it 3, about 6. Okay, that's fine. Let's bring luminance down a little bit, because if I take it makes it more whiter, but that was not the case. We wanted, the aim is to make it a little bit more heavenly, so we're going to take it down and click done. Now look at that, that's so far. I'm going to show you guys before and after. It's a lot more warmer. Okay, now back on editing, I want to go to fix the light, which basically means things like the exposure, how bright it is, how much light there is in the picture, and contrast, and the blacks and the whites and the highlights, etc. So you can use a curve and adjust the specific colors, like once again the reds and the greens and the blues, or just the normal. We don't want to adjust the curves. I'm going to show you guys manually how you do the exposures and things. So when you take the exposure up, it adds more light to it, as you can see, and when you take it down, it adds less light to it. We want to take it down. I'm always about, it's better to have a normal looking photo than an overexposed photo. You can adjust the highlights, of course, but just keep the exposure a little low. Contrast add in just to increase the depth within the clouds. Highlights, now let's see what this does. I know what it does. And it would work. shadows. So play around with that, make the whites a little bit more whiter and the blacks a little more black. Okay. And then we have other options like effects. I don't really do much in this section. I just like to use clarity in this vignette sometimes, not all the time. I don't want clarity, I want a bit of fuzziness. I don't want the fuzziness, I want a bit more fluffiness. So I'm going to take the clarity down, keep it a little bit fluffy. Dehaze does kind of similar thing, but it applies it to the whole image kind of things. You can see when I take it right up versus when I take it right down. So I'm not going to play with dehaze in this, maybe a little bit up, not in a minus, maybe more in a positive number, yeah. But yeah, vignette is basically the shadow that it adds as a background, not a background, as a border kind of thing, and usually it's either black or white. I'll show you. So this is a black, which obviously adds a little bit more, darkness around the areas, whereas if it's white, it's like that. So I'm gonna go with the black because we have more black tones in this and it suits it better. So I'm gonna go with that. You can adjust the sharp. I don't want to play with sharpening because I want it to keep this picture very fluffy because it's clouds and that's what the point is. Same with optics, you can play around and fix the lens maybe if you want to. You don't have to. I'm not playing around with that much. But yeah, here's the final result, and I'm just about to show you what before is and what the after is. This is the before. As you can see, it's very white, very kind of dull and very standard. Whereas we turned into a lot more a warmer day, and it feels more like those heaven clouds that you get in cartoons like Ice Age or something, especially with the sun and everything. So yeah, I hope this was useful. If you do have any questions, let me know, and if you want me to do more of these, also let me know. Other than that, that's it. Bye.